Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head on UATV. I'm Oles Garjuk. Lately, the United States has been shocking the world with a number of unexpected decisions. In June, the country quit the Paris Climate Agreement, which aims to decrease the effects of climate change. And now, the United States has announced its withdrawal from UNESCO, the international organization which strives to facilitate cultural, scientific, and educational collaboration across borders. The US's decision will take effect at the end of next year. To take a more detailed look at the issue, we are joined in the studio by Ivan Us, who is an expert for the Foreign Policy Council Ukrainian Prism. Hello, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
First of all, Mr. Us, I would like to ask you what is going on and why United States are leaving the UNESCO.
So, for understanding the reason why the United States of America decided to make the step, we should understand the history of the question. Mr. Trump, who sometimes like to copy the policy of Mr. Reagan, and sometimes we call him Reagan 2.0, so the second Reagan, he understands that Mr. tried to really make the same steps that Mr. Reagan while being a president. I try to remind that in time of Mr. Reagan presidency, United States of America left the UNESCO.
Yeah.
And the reason was simple. They accused that organization of being working for the Soviet Union, saying that this is an organization that formerly situated under the roof of United Nations organization and which exists due to serious donation from the United States of America, works against the interests of the of the interests of the USA. Yes, that's why Mr. Reagan stopped the U.S. membership in this organization, and the USA returned to that organization only after the tragedy in the September 2001.
But hold on, what was the impact of such decision back then?
Impact of
Reagan's decision?
Formally, the UNESCO didn't disappear, as someone think, because the United States of America is one of the main donors, as it's now. Yes, and but this organization exists, but without that financing that USA could give to that organization. Then in 2002, Mr. Bush returned USA to that organization. Until 2012, I remember when Mr. Obama said that the United States of America make some pause in their relationship, so they remained in this organization, but decided not to pay their money for that, just because they were against the decision of UNESCO to include Palestine in its structure as Israel
among the members.
Yes, among the members, because Israel, one of the main ally of the United States of America in that region, was against the decision. And after that, the United States of America formally remained the member of UNESCO, but didn't pay money. Money, I mean 72, as I remember, $1 million per year. And it means that the UNESCO constantly remind the US about their debt that till this moment start to be 600 million, so they hear from mass media, so that United States of America should pay it. And
so now United States wants to stem outgoings, as far as I understand.
First of all, if the USA leaves this organization, they will not pay this money. It's a financial part. Second part, currently UNESCO is headed by the daughter of former communist leader of Bulgaria. Yes, the person who had the pro-Russia policy. Yes, and when they make some decisions, the decision, according to USA, goes against their interests. For example, they said that all their decision about Palestine, about recognition of some territories as a cultural heritage of Palestine, that made against the interests of the United States of America and the attempt of the United States of America to create peace in this territory. So that's why they think that UNESCO, a formerly cultural structure, organization that is not political, but actually the activity oriented against peace in this region. That's why they don't want to be members of that organization and have a lot of questions. It's another reason. Third,
and Israel joins also UN.
Israel said that they support the USA, of course, because formally the reason is anti-Israel position. And that's why they together want to leave it. Third reason, more serious, as for me, that the United States of America practically from the beginning of Mr. Trump presidency, they announced the fact that they not agree with current situation with global institutions. Yes. With the United Nations, as Mr. Trump said in the previous week, with UNESCO as part of United Nations, with some others, for example, the World Trade Organization, the main trade organization in the world, the United Nations tried to say that they really don't want to support the current trends that exist inside that organization, and they start to create institutional problems for it.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Yes. Because really nowadays it seems like Trump administration is trying to distance itself from global organizations. But why is that? Why they don't agree with the policy of these organizations, or what do you mean?
I want to say that really under the Obama reigning period, the United Nations, the United States of America practically not seriously influenced all global institutions. So all those institutions exist. United States of America as the main donator gives a lot of money for them, but the policy of that organization goes not against, but
doesn't go the same direction.
In the same direction with the USA national interest. Mm-hmm. That's why Trump and his administration said to all their partners, it's not only United Nations, for example, NATO, mm-hmm. and they said, guys, we don't want to pay for you. So please review your expenditures for these purposes, increase it, and then we stay. Because I don't think that the United States of America want to really create this distance between them and global institutions. They want to be members of the global institution, but they want to review the policy of that institution and the financing. Because when a majority of the structures exist due to the US financing, and when their policy not absolutely goes in the same direction with the interests of the USA, the USA taxpayers can ask their president, why should we pay money, because taxpayers pay money and that money goes to that organization for their existence, when their decision is not in our favor. That's why, as for me, Mr. Trump tried to create something like a pressure to whole global institution with one statement, that we would like to review your policy. We are not against you. It's something like some people said about Brexit. You know, that the United Kingdom don't want to leave absolutely the European Union, but they want to review its policy because they go not of the interest of the UK. The same situation is happening now when USA try to explain to the whole world. Probably we can say that it's blackmailing. Probably it's blackmailing.
But shouldn't they warn the organization before?
They, first of all, under the Obama reigning, they make some polls in their membership, meaning that they was member of that organization, but they didn't pay money for that. Now they said...
That was a warning.
Yes, that was actually a warning. Mm-hmm. Now they said, guys, we are leaving because we see that now we have, as I said, the current head of UNESCO, its daughter, former Bulgarian Communist Party leader. Currently, if we look to the list of the potential new heads of UNESCO, we see the favorite from Qatar, second person from Egypt, so a person who, under being the head of this organization, who will do the policies that will be against of Israel. We can imagine that because we see the figures of that people. Mm-hmm. Probably United States of America want to see a person closer to them. And it's the chair of the head of that organization, not only in UNESCO, because seeing, as I said, about WTO as an example, in other institutions, so United States of America want to return them to pro-American policy, mm-hmm. saying that we are the main donors.
Is it only concerns Israeli question, or are United States afraid that these chairmen of UNESCO would be somehow pro-Russian if... she is the daughter of...
Bulgarian leader, yes. I think that they used that question, formally said that Israel is our ally, that's why we're against, and so on and so forth. But as for me, it's a part of their main political strategy for returning the main institution in field of pro-American interests. And they just try to search arguments because formally they could not say that guys return to our interests. It will be not correct from their side. That's why they use different examples. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to say the USA don't think about Israel as for the main ally. And we know the influence of Israel inside USA, yes. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, as for me, it's just an argument. It's not the main reason.
Another important topic to discuss is the Russian interference in U.S. elections. What could you comment on that?
So, first of all, we should understand that Russia tried to play the role of second Soviet Union, yes, USA number 2. That's why they want to say that we have our interests all over the world. That's why they even influenced to the United States of America. We can remind the USSR Times when KGB reports to the leaders of Soviet Union that we have our agents in America, even Henry Kissinger, former Secretary of State of the United States of America, they said it's our agent. I hear about such rumors that they report about that. Now, of course, Russia tried to influence to the US. They think how to help to Mr. Trump because they're afraid of Hillary Clinton. People who reminds the situation in the world in the 1980 can remember the situation when Mr. Carter was the president of the United States of America, and his reaction for the USA interference to Afghanistan when the USSR sent its soldiers was some sanctions. And the USSR said that, no, we will support his enemy, Mr. Reagan, because with him we can build our relationship because Soviet Union think that they could do that. Now we have the copy of the situation when they think that with Trump their relationship will be better. They, as some analysts said, that they forgot probably that Republicans, it's the main anti-Soviet and now anti-Russian party, yes? And now when they practically help, who knows, but I have not enough arguments for accusing Russia, but I have some feeling that they really support Mr. Trump, or at least play against Hillary. Now, all that Republicans, try to emphasize that, parties that win that elections, try to use that argument of Russia interference in terms of creating pressure for Mr. Trump. Because now we see that the USA Congress, that according to some analysts, now for the first time for last decades probably, create a union between two main parties, between Republicans and Democrats, who united against Trump and saying that we create a special corridor for you and something...
You mean Republicans are creating this corridor?
Yes. Republicans and Democrats, but Republicans played the main role, and they appointed Mr. Mueller as a special procurator who investigates the Russia interference in the elections. And every time when Trump tried to say that we can change some sanctions against Russia or we should build a more friendly relationship with Russia, they made a call to that procurator who reappeared in the UATV and remind Mr. Trump that you know that you have this case. And this case can lead to your impeachment. In the United States of America, as I remember, they have only one impeachment to Mr. Nixon. That's all. And now Trump appears in this corridor when his party, Republicans, say that you should do that, that, and that. And if you don't, we return to this investigation and we can even change you or create this impeachment just because we have enough arguments. And I'm sure that they have the arguments of Russia interference. Because Russia tried to play an empire, that's why they could interfere. I wasn't sure. Even starting from, Kaspersky as a...
I was about to ask about this scandal with Kaspersky antivirus system that was ordered by Kremlin to search for the US documents classified top secret, and also another scandals including the accusations in reading the emails of the Danish Ministry of Defense of Hillary Clinton. How would you explain what are the intentions of Russian authorities?
First of all, I should remind the history of Mr. Kaspersky. He is a former KGB officer, as I remember. At least he graduated from the KGB Academy. So it's a good field for accusation, saying that he works for Russian, currently FSB, before that was KGB. That's why his system of antivirus, formerly it's IT product, first of all, I try to say that in the world of technologies, where every company in the IT sphere costs billions of dollars, such an accusation could be used by his competitors just to eliminate him. It's one part of this field. Second part, that really, as it's a Russian system, and as I said, Mr. Kaspersky is a former, at least, student of the KGB school. Theoretically, he could work for the Russian government, and he could use his system just for reading these emails, not only in Denmark, but as you mentioned, Hillary Clinton, because one of the part of this scandal with Mr. Trump that due to some system, Russia read the emails of Hillary Clinton and then create this, give either this information to Trump or his surrounding, or made it public. That played in favor of Mr. Trump. Yes, so Mr. Trump couldn't have any information about such steps, but that steps played at that time in favor of him. But currently, when Mr. Trump became the president, reminding about that facts can play against him. And Mr. Kaspersky, his KGB origin, because I think that the fact that he graduated from that academy, it could play in favor of such an accusation. So that's why it could be another card that will be used by the either Trump opponents or at least those who are interested in accusing Russia. But I try to emphasize that I wasn't sure that Russia really does that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much for this conversation.
You're welcome.
That was Ivan Us, expert for the Foreign Policy Council Ukrainian Prism. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Oles Garjuk. Goodbye.